Well, greetings and salutations everyone, welcome back to the Bond Geek channel, and I think it's fair to say that over a week ago, just over a week ago, us Bondians, our lives changed forever with the news about what happened. I remember doing a video right off the bat, and I was so jumbled up in my thoughts and feelings at the time, it was so raw, it's just I didn't really know what to think about, but I think more news has come out over the last week. I think a bit of time has settled, got some time for me to have a think and just analyse things and come up with my own beliefs. And so I wanted to do this sort of secondary sequel video to my previous Amazon video about my own thoughts and feelings about Amazon now having full control of James Bond. And I'm just going to say right off the bat here, everyone, I'm not going to hide it or dispense. I've really been thinking about this whole thing, and I've actually come to the conclusion, and I'm going to stand by this, I actually think this is brilliant for James Bond. I do, very much. I know a lot of people will be sort of reacting more like this, but for me, absolutely 100%, I actually think this is a really good thing for us and the future of James Bond, and I just want to go into a little few details why I think so.
I hope I can live up to your high standards.
So, what is sort of really exciting me, everyone, about this news is, for me, this solidifies, I think, a fear we've had for a while, because, you know, it was a real delayed in release, yes, because of COVID, we all know that, but, you know, No Time to Die released in 2021, The Sixth of Us is 22, we had nothing released since then. For me, Amazon now having the creative control over James Bond, for me, signifies we're going to finally get back what we had with the Pierce Brosnan era, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Sean Connery, a more regular, consistent James Bond movies. And for me, I'm sorry, that is, I think, one of the big things I'm most excited about. For me, it's not a case of having to wait and hope they announce a James Bond film. I really think now with Amazon taking control, we are gonna get that regular stream of James Bond movies. And just add on that, and following up on that sort of belief, if you will, just allow me for a second, I think we are very lucky that of all these sort of studios who could have taken control of James Bond, I actually think we're quite lucky MGM is now Amazon. So what I'm really trying to get at with this is, let's just say, for instance, James Bond is now owned by Disney. A really wrong, doesn't really I see the connection there. I don't think it could do the James Bond series very well. If it was owned by Paramount, I don't think they could really back it and support it the way it could. If Bond was owned by Apple, yes, I could see that working, you know, potentially, but I think because Amazon now taking control and control of James Bond, I personally just feel a bit relaxed knowing that the financial security of James Bond is there, it's set. We don't probably potentially ever have to worry about this ever again. I think that's so important. And the other thing I just want to add here is, based on what I've seen from Amazon and what they've produced over the years, yes, there's been some great hits, but there's also been some great misses, let's be fair. I feel overall their hits outweigh their misses, and they really do believe in quality. They really do. And that's the sort of person I would love to be in charge of James Bond. So that's why I think actually we are very lucky Amazon have got control of James Bond. Pure and simple, it's quality, and I want someone who cares about quality in control of James Bond. So another thing that makes me really excited that it's Amazon, not anyone else, is I feel they have the ability to help relaunch James Bond and get it to appeal to a younger audience. And what I mean by that is not just suddenly make it all TikToks and something like that. No, but create something that is very much James Bond and start connecting it again with a younger audience, whether it being merchandise that you can actually buy, video games, they have the money to get behind that and do stuff with that. I think you're going to find that suddenly, now Amazon in control, a lot more James Bond merchandise content in different ways is going to start trickling out again and starting to appeal to a younger generation. Let's be fair, when I was growing up in the 90s and early noughties, one of the things that really helped me solidify my love of James Bond, apart from the movies, was the video games, was the toy merchandise I got to use as a kid. Nowadays, that stuff basically nearly doesn't exist. And I think it's, and I've mentioned this again in a previous video, I just don't understand why, because it helped grow my love of James Bond, and those video games helped kept the magic alive in between Die Another Day and Casino Royale. So just adding on to what I've just said previously, I think that Amazon could really get behind getting a younger generation and more people interested in James Bond by making it more available to enjoy it and show it with everyone. Now, on the other side of that, I'm going to really tap in something I know a lot of people get concerned about, which is, if you will, the expanded universe of spin-offs. Now, let's be frank, right now, there has been no announcements of we're going to do massive amount of spin-offs between the movies and we're just going to do spin-offs. Movies aren't going to be the priority. We've heard nothing really from Amazon. The only thing we know really sure is a release statement saying that we do care about James Bond. And I'm going to say this right now here, and I don't know how people are going to react to this, but this is just my thoughts and my feelings here. One of the things that has allowed James Bond to survive over the years, its ability to adapt and change and grow as we grow as well, and the modern audience grows. While the landscape changes, Bond has changed as well. Let's face it, the fact that we've survived over 60 years, this fandom, is a testament to that. And to be fair, again, I think it's just inevitable we're going to get some sort of spin-offs, well, if you will, more spin-offs when it comes to James Bond. Heck, we've already got 007 Road to the Million. But to be honest, I'm not sure that we are going to get spin-offs in the sense that what people are saying, like, you know, there's Moneypenny Diaries or a Felix Leiter show. I don't think we're going to get spin-offs per se quite like that at the start. I think we're going to get more stuff like Road to a Million or documentaries coming out. That will be the supportive thing that we get here. I think it's very important to have this mindset of James Bond has to be relevant, has to be up to date, and has to move on with the times. And the fact of the matter is, the modern day thing is to make big budget movies and spin-off TV shows. Heck, look at Dune Part 1, Part 2, and now we have that show Dune Prophecy. That's a thriving franchise, and that's doing spin-off TV shows and big budget movies. Why can't James Bond be the same way, everyone? I, myself, am not opposed to spin-offs. I never have been. I think there's potential if you do it in the right way, and we'll get into this a bit later in the video as well. So, I think, to be fair, we all knew when Amazon bought MGM, there was a likelihood we were going to get spin-offs now. It wasn't like more that maybe not. I really do feel like now we should embrace the fact we're going to get spin-offs, get excited for the potential of spin-offs as well. But rounding it back to the main item here, listen, I'm going to say this right now. Anyone who says we're not going to get big budget movies anymore for James Bond, I'm sorry, I just don't understand where you're coming from. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. Amazon has spent billions on purchasing MGM. It spent another billion to get creative control of James Bond. And I'm sorry, what do you think they're going to do? Just do sort of stuff for Amazon Prime? No, of course they're not. They're going to do big budget tentpole movies. That's the way they're going to make a profit back, everyone. If anything, the fact that Amazon have to spend so much, to me, almost guarantees we are still going to get big theatrical releases, because they know that they want to make money off James Bond. And the way to do that, everyone, I'm going to tell you right now, is big feature films. All the big studios who thought streaming was the future and that will be the way to save companies, they're all coming back to doing more big theatrical releases of everything. Things are going back to the cinema, ladies and gentlemen, and the idea for me that James Bond isn't going to go back to the cinema, I just don't get why people believe that. James Bond, I think, is very much still going to be a big budget theatrical experience and spin-offs in between. That's actually the way I think it could potentially be in the future. In my head, it will be like maybe a film every 2 or 3 years, and in between those 2 years or 1 year between each movie, we're going to have a spin-off like 007 Road to a Million, or Felix Leiter spin-off, or maybe a Q Labs sort of show like I've mentioned previously. And now to cover all my bases here, because I have talked a lot about how I feel we should be very positive and excited about Amazon now going forward with James Bond, and I really do here believe that. I'm going to lie to you, I am still quite nervous. No, I really am actually quite nervous, because this is the first time the Broccoli family have not been in control. This is no longer Eon at the steering wheel here. This is brand new territory. The closest thing I could think about was the production of Never Say Never Again. This is a different studio coming in now and making James Bond. We have just no idea what it's going to be like and how it's going to turn out for Bond 26. It is actually a bit frightening. We're at a stage now where I think it is exciting about all the possibilities going forward again. But at the same time, it is quite scary to think about what's going to happen to our beloved franchise, what directions are going to take, what's going to happen, who's going to be in charge. There's just so many questions we all have, and we're all like wondering what is going to happen. I don't know. I'm trying to hear things or like try and work things out, but at the same time, I rather embrace this than try and fight against this. That's one of the things, again, I'm really pushing on to here. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I do think something greatly positive is going to come out of this era. So the last thing I'm just going to add to this video here is, again, a bit of a tribute, as I did in my previous video, to Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson. Now, bear with me here, everyone. The fact that I love film so much, the fact that I did film production at uni, any film I have made in my past, you can trickle back down to those two. You really can. Because it was their tenure as James Bond that really got me into loving movies and loving cinema as a whole. It all goes down to them. I still think they are, without a doubt, the best producers that we've ever had. I have to eat a bit of humble crow here when I thought that Barbara really was ultra passionate about Bond. She is passionate, but she wants to do other things, and I was wrong about that, and I have to openly up and admit it, and it is a bit upsetting now, but she still remains one of the greatest, I think, producers of the modern day, really do. And Michael Wilson, just his legacy speaks for itself. What he's done with James Bond over the years is just, he's produced, he's written, it's just, he's helped shape the future of Bond. It's just amazing what he's done, and to be honest, I'm going to miss those two, and I feel so sorry for whoever has to follow up after those two, because you've had original Harry Saltzman and Albert Broccoli, then you had Albert R. Broccoli, then you had Barbara and Michael. So in between that as well, you had Albert and Michael. It's one hell of a hard act to follow, people. It really is. So everyone, that's really the end of my thing I want to say here. I just want to say I'm really actually stoked. I'm in support of Amazon taking control of James Bond, and I hope that my hope and faith is rewarded down the line. I do think we're going to get a film hopefully soon, maybe 26 if we're lucky, but most likely 27. We're going to get a new Bond, we're finally going to get things rolling, and we're going to get stuff happening, and that to me is reason for excitement. So let us all toast the past of what has just been, and also look forward to a brand new horizon in the future. Everyone, my name's Henry, and I'm the Bond Geek. Goodbye.